All right, so this first lesson is basically about the general principles of like what it means to center a piece of clay, right? What the overall strategy basically looks like. And the way I'm going to demonstrate that is actually by using a very, very small piece of clay. Like this would be akin to making the knob on a lid or something like that. But what I find is really universal in this is sort of like the placement of where you're applying pressure, and the judicious use of pressure, the amount of surface contact that there is, and the like. And essentially what you're going to be doing is then expanding that and making that just on a larger scale, of course, but those principles remain the same. So wheel is clean, cleaner than usual, right? This is definitely not how it usually looks. I am using no tools at all right now, right? I've just got like the bare bones. And that's basically how I'm going to approach, most of these videos. I'm going to do my best to leave out any of the fancy sort of tools that are more expensive or whatever. Really bare bones. Just keep it as bare bones as possible, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this piece of clay right smack dab in the middle. Now, these the concentric circles that are here on the wheel are not super duper visible. This wheel gets used a lot, so just over the years, the amount of friction that's been applied to this, with various clay bodies, with me being somewhat irresponsible and leaving maybe a bat on the wheel overnight, stuff like that, has made it so that those circles are not so there, but I can still sort of see them if I look at it at an angle, right? So what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is like decently attached. The wheel head was had a tiny film of water on it, right? It's like if I was taking a sponge, wringing it out entirely, and then applying just that tiny little bit of water there, and I'm just going to kind of make sure that around the edges this isn't going to move on me. Okay, so I'm adding water to start off with. You can see that it's like actually a little bit off. I'm going to move it a little bit more on center. Okay, now to start off with, what I'm going to be doing is applying pressure off here on the left. Now the position of my body is very, very important here. Now you're not gonna see, unfortunately, for the best view of this. I'll try to move my hand so it's slightly better, but I have my legs up against the wheel. I have my elbow really firmly planted here, about midway of my thigh. Everybody's body shape being different and the like, you need to find what's comfortable for you. But what you do is basically you want to be really working with the wheel rather than against the wheel. I think it's a 0.5 horsepower motor that's on this wheel. That's still stronger than you are, stronger than I am. What you need to do is not fight against the wheel, but work with the wheel, of course. And what's the best way to do that? Well, it's not having your elbows flailing around and your knees, not touching the wheel. You'll see some potters, and I can do this myself, I can get away with it, but that's with lots and lots of experience, right? So, and that's not my default mode, is leaving my elbows and legs not touching the wheel. My default mode is really embracing the wheel, just sort of, trying to be as one with the machine as possible, as bad as that sounds. So, it's very analog, this machine though, not digital, so it's not so bad. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm using the edge of my, just my thumb right here, and I'm applying pressure. And where that's helping first and foremost is getting this so that it's nice and attached, right? Now, what we're going to be doing in the next little video is I'm going to be showing you how that then translates into using it with your hands, right? This is just a cone 6 stoneware, sort of, buyer's beige, off-white. Nothing special, quite smooth. Not really a good clay for large scale work, but for small scale work it's okay. So now I'm just using my thumb, and you can see that it's sort of gotten under control right there. It's not There's a bit of movement here still at the base. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my forefinger on my other hand. It could be any finger, but I'm going to be applying pressure on the exact opposite side of where that is. And then the idea here is that I'm going to be pinching between those two hands, between those two fingers rather, in this instance, bringing that up, right, and sort of creating this, like, you know, conical shape. Right, from here, then you would push downward, right, either with this hand and holding it at the base right here, or the other way, honestly, which I do more often, is that I would be pushing downward, and on the right, I would be holding the base steady as I push downward with the left, like this, right? And this is ultimately the shape that we're looking for, which is this sort of hockey puck shape, right? You can see I'm reusing my slip here, right? So doing it again, right? Again, starting off with the left, and then I don't want to create an indentation. You want to avoid creating an indentation where there's going to be sort of like air trapped in there. So go ahead and, you know, make sure that there's a point there, or avoid flattening it out too much to begin with. Okay, and then again I'm squeezing on opposite sides and having this come up, right, into a conical shape. I can go a bit further with that. All right, back up into a conical shape. All right, hold it on the right. I'm going to push downward on the left. All right, now just for good measure, I'm going to do it a third time. So again, I'm going to get it so it's a little bit of a bump up there on the top, so that there's no clay that's going to get trapped in there as I bring it upward. I'm going to try to use all of my slip as much as I can, again. All right, and then again, I'm going to squeeze here at the base, work my way upward. Now, one thing that's important is that you're always maintaining a taper from the base to the top, right? Now, this is sort of an awkward, you know, thing. Like, I would not generally, you know, recommend doing this. I would not recommend doing this at all, honestly. This is really something that's just to give you an idea of, like, where those pressure points are for creating, you know, centering in general. Where am I applying pressure? That's the entire purpose of this video. You don't have to do this. I don't want you to do this. I just want you to kind of understand, make that observation. What is it that's going on here? Where am I applying pressure? And to notice that I'm not completely covering this piece of clay, right? This is a very small piece of clay, but the thing, you know, the thing is that those same principles are going to be applicable elsewhere. I'm gonna hold on the right. I'm gonna push downward from the top on the left with my left, right? Let that come down. And this is what's going to make that cylindrical sort of hockey puck shape, and that's centered. That's it. That's all. All right, so what you're gonna see in the next video is we're gonna scale this up, and I'll show you the way that I have, you know, helped the most students be successful in learning how to center in my particular method.